And just like that, GM Talks is back again. I'm sorry for the long absence. We have been very busy with a lot of stuff. But let's learn some more chess today. We're gonna look at a positional game I played at the Danish Championship. I played 9 games, won 2, lost 1, and 6 draws. It was not a good result for me. I was winning in 3 games that I didn't win. So something need to be fixed. And I'm working on it. And I will get back to you how I try to fix this, that somehow when I get a winning position, I stop calculating, or I just can't seem to, my brain goes foggy and I don't see anything. But I did win one rather nice game against one of my old opponents, Pilgaard, which I have a very good score against. So he is the kind of guy I like to play against. And today we're going to look at something that is very difficult for a lot of chess players. That is sort of identify the important stuff, because we all know a lot of things like develop the knight, fight for influence in the center and all this. But when does it apply and when is it not important? That's very, very difficult. I can only say that with experience it gets better, but it will always be sort of an issue to understand when something is important and when it's not important. And I can see that when I discuss with players that have a lower rating than me, that this is where they really struggle. That somehow, well, why? How do you know this is important? And I don't know how I know, but I will try to explain. Anyway, let's get into it. I am white. I play E4. Well, I play all kind of moves, D4, C4, E4, knight F3. It's all sort of depending on the opponent. I knew that Kim is always playing E5 and is usually going in for the Spanish. Here he has played some system with knight E7, different kind of stuff, and I would like to play against that. But he's also played the closed Spanish and also the open Spanish. So I was sort of prepared. And he took here, and this is the open Spanish, where black changes the nature of the game from a sort of a closed like structure like the Chigorin or Breyer or something like that, to a more like half open game, which I think probably suits his style better. Anyway, this is all theory, and C3 is the main move. There was a time when knight BD2 was the most played move, but at the moment white seems to like C3. The main line here is bishop C5, knight BD2, and black has 3 different options: bishop F5, F5, knight takes F2, which is known as a Dilworth. A lot of theory. This is, well, expert stuff. You have to look it up. Bishop E7 is a little bit trendy at the moment, and knight BD2, which is, you have to challenge the knight here. It is sitting there like a very nice piece, and also it makes it difficult to defend this pawn. Knight C5 is the main move. Bishop C2 preserving the bishop, and of course with this white has the majority on the king side, so he's hoping to get an attack on the king side, and black has active free piece play and a majority on the queen side, which might become telling at some point. The moment we really fight about the center, earlier he had played bishop G4 here. This is not a good line, I think, and I was hoping he would have done that. He did it with some success, but it's gone out of favor. In general, it's just simply, well, it's not the best way to play, but D4 is what they do nowadays. And the main line is knight B3, D3 with very sharp positions, and Kim is probably well prepared. He probably prepared this. So I played this, which I have seen August, young Danish talent, win a nice game with white early in the tournament. It is not considered critical, But I know that I think in sort of hot and cold maneuvering positional game or end games, I would probably be better than Pilgaard. So I was hoping to get this kind of position and not something where he can play like 10 moves in a very sharp position and I don't know what's going on. So this was clearly, and we go in for the end game with this move. He has to exchange, otherwise White will get a serious attack. So take here. I think the main move here is castle. I think that's probably the best move. In the other game, Black played bishop d4 and White plays h3 and had a nice advantage. The White square bishop became very strong. Kim decided to play rook d8. By the way, a very important thing here is if it was White to move, he would love to play this move. Both sort of liberating this guy to move forward, but also highlighting the white squares and so on in Black's camp. If Black, for instance, could get this knight out of the way and put this, let's put it on this pawn here, he would be very happy. He will have a strong queenside majority. He'll get some more extra space and have excellent counterplay. White is of course hoping to push his f-pawn fast, but at the moment we are fighting for squares. There might be some weaknesses in the c-file until Black gets the knight out of the way. In general, Black is more or less fine here if nothing bad happens, but if something bad happens, it will probably be a problem for him. Rook d8 is probably a little bit premature. It would have been better to castle. I wanted to play this move here, but the problem is this move is very, very annoying, and on f3 you have knight e6, and just putting pressure on White's position is really not, and this get even after something like this, it gets even worse. So this is not what you want. So unfortunately I had to take, but that was also sort of the best move, and he took with the bishop and he should have taken with the king. This was clear, I think. Knight d4, and we are all on our own here. I might threaten to take the bishop here, up here, but I'm also getting ready to get the majority rolling, and I'm planning something like bishop e3. Black has some sort of structural difficulties, but just getting this knight to this square would make him pretty happy most of the time. So it's not something serious. Bishop d5 was a surprise. I thought he would go to d7 to play knight e6. He's of course planning knight e6, but I think I like it here. I have the knight here, and the bishop is sort of vulnerable on this square. Here he played this move, and now it's White's time to think here and find a grandmaster move. So what would a grandmaster play here? Well, first of all, you have to realize that if Black is sort of, if you play b3, he will jump in and he will be very active, and of course he's liberating this pawn to move and so on. And White's position is slightly, it's not really sort of functioning perfectly, but knight a4 was weird. One of the things you don't want to do, you don't want to take this one, because after something like this, Black has the bishop pair. Well, his structure is damaged, but this one is excellent compensation for that damage, and Black will usually never lose this kind of game. Black is just fine, I think, and it's dangerous because these bishops can become very strong. The bishop pair in these kind of positions are very strong, and that's, I don't know how to explain that otherwise than by saying you need experience. When you have been gunned down by the bishops in similar positions sometimes or on multiple occasions, you will realize, I don't want to fight against these bishops in these kind of positions. No, I don't like. So this is this is the one example of what's important. But one thing that is important is that this one is looking a little bit weird here. So white has this excellent move, bishop b3. You also see that if he takes, we open the a file, and just by that he can't take it because it will give white a clear advantage and winning a pawn is a clear indication at bishop b3. When you see the move, you just realize, this move is good. I can just feel it. This is the move I want to make. So bishop b3, strong move. Black plays c6. And here I was calculating and I was calculating and I was calculating. So the thing I really want to play is rook c1. That would be the move that I'm hoping to make. So let's see what's going on here. Rook c1. And of course, if black doesn't do anything, I'll just take this one or this one and play b3, and I'll have a very clear advantage. So he has to take here. This is clear. This sort of chess logic. I could take here and play rook c6, and that's the computer like it for white. I'm not completely convinced, but I thought I was looking at this and saying, okay, is there, and now knight d8, and he can't take back because of rook d1. Winning a piece due to the pin on the D file. But what about this move? And here my brain was just melting down at another example of how difficult it is to sort of calculate when you reach. Well, I don't know if I can feel I'm not that good at calculating anymore. Anyway, the thing is here. You can't win in material, but the computer, of course, comes up with a solution here, because I was looking at something like this, and this is probably fine for black as well, and so on. And but the computer comes up with this move, which wins a pawn and gives a clear advantage due to this move. This was not easy to see, for sure. Yeah, so instead I took on d5. I couldn't calculate. I wanted to play rook c1, but I couldn't make it work. And here rook c1 will be transposing, and rook c6, still the computer says slight advantage. It's not nothing big. b3 looks natural. Knight c3, and of course you're afraid of these kind of things here. Because you want to play rook c1, but b2 is also hanging. So king f1 is kind of sort of old man making sure nothing is getting lost. King d7, good move. No reason to tuck the king away. The king needs to fight here. a3 is probably not the best move, and here he finally makes a mistake. Bishop b6 seems to equalize. So there was he's getting his pieces out in a decent way after bishop b6. Instead he played knight e4. He was afraid the knight was going to get trapped by f3 and rook c1. But unfortunately I'm not going to trap it. But now I can push the knight again. Of course, it can't go back. You don't want to really. And he makes another mistake here. Bishop d5. And it looks natural, getting exchanging pieces and activating and getting ready for the rook to come to c8. Unfortunately, after these moves here and rook c1, white is very clearly better here. This pawn is weak. This knight is strong. We have a majority. He has weaknesses and so on, and it's a very clear advantage. He played knight e6, and here again, how to play with white here. There is one move that's much better than everything else. That was a big hint, right? So what should white do here? What is important? Well, in general, you want in these kind of position, knight and rook, and knight and rook versus knight and rook. activity and space are very important features. So how can white improve his activity? Well, the obvious answer is rook c6, getting in, attacking this one, and of course with the nice little tactical point that if he takes here, you have this intermediate move check, and king will go back, and he will lose the d pawn, and probably some more. White has very clear advantage here. It's probably a winning rook in game. Just more space, more activity, and so on. So he played knight c7, and saying, okay, this looks dumb, but it does cover these two pawns here. But of course, white is happy, pushing the king away and attacking the d pawn, getting ready to simply also go here and win the d pawn. Rook e8, f4, and on d6 I go to h6. But he played d5. I hadn't seen that, but it doesn't change as much. g3, I just keep my advantage. I have a very active rook, a very active knight, and better structure. So white is more or less winning here. Rook e6. And one thing that's important in these kind of positions is sort of finding the right balance between winning something and avoiding counterplay. I have a tendency to be more on the let them have no counterplay at all. I'm going to really try to avoid any kind of counterplay. And here I just said, okay, I'm gonna just stop anything from coming in here. He can't move. On king d7, I have rook d7, which is really, really, really unpleasant. So let's see. Rook a8, of course, and of course the rook has an X-ray effect, so it's covering here. But the idea, of course, was to go forward. And here again, I have the idea to the rook ending transposition is just winning for white, who has dominating position with the active king, active rook, and a lot of black weaknesses. So he will get a free pawn very fast. So king goes here, and I win a pawn, but he gets into a knight ending, and that's a little bit more tricky than maybe it looks. But and here I play this move, just covering this, getting ready for if he moves when he moves the f pawn, I can get in here. But he just goes back, and if I go to e5, he goes to c4. So that was a little bit annoying. So after this, I went back again. He, of course, can't go here due to d7. So he has to also go back. And I went here instead, just attacking a6 and putting him in more or less. I'm about to put him into Zugzwang. What I really want to do is get my king over here without allowing counterplay. a6, h4, just mirroring and king and take. And the trick here is knight c5. He can't take. I managed to set it up, and this is very important. That here, if it was black to move, he would play f6, and it would be a draw. Maybe it's a draw. Maybe king e4 wins. But here it's very simple, and black will run out of move, and king d5 comes with f6, h5, h5, f6, and a winning pawn ending. So he can't take on c5. And here the simplest move is just to go for the race with knight e4 and king c5. But I like keeping him back and not allowing any kind of counterplay. And this is losing after a4. Very simple, just undermining the knight. He is desperate for counterplay, and a5, and black resigned. This pawn is threatening to go all the way. Something like this, it does not help here. Here he can't stop the pawn. So basically, I have a extra passed pawn here and a dominating position and more activity, and it's a plus I don't know how much. So That's of course winning. Anyway, this was GM Talks. I'm happy to be back. I hope to do more videos in the future. Again, it's not easy to determine what's important in a position. Experience will help you, but and there are some guidelines, and we've been talking a lot about this on GM Talks. You can look in some of the older videos and see some of the tips, but it's not easy. It's not easy. I promise. I must admit, it's simply not easy. Thank you for watching.